What is up, everybody? Matthew Deary. So good to see your smiling faces. Checking in at the end of 2020, the year that just will not end.
What's that? Oh! Whoa, whoa!
Thankfully, it is December. At the beginning of the year-ish pandemic, I did a State of the Union for this channel and my ambitions to help this channel grow a little bit and create more content. This is kind of like a State of the Union update or 2020 in review type video. And I just kind of wanted to check in since the last video that I posted was 3 months ago. So what have I been up to in the past 3 months since I posted my last video on the channel? To be completely honest, I have been up to my eyes in paid client work. And that is a good thing just based on how the year started. Once March hit, I lost out on about $30,000 worth of work from 2 really big clients. They just paused or canceled the projects. And so that was a definite hit to my bottom line in terms of being a small business owner. And given that loss of work, that certainly affected my trajectory for the year of 2020. So once May and June and July and all those months, this work started to kind of stack up. Instead of saying no, oftentimes I just kind of opened my arms and pulled as much into my chest as I possibly could, just to try and make up that difference and to make sure that I was making enough money to take care of my family and all my responsibilities as 2020 kind of came to a close. Back in March, I distinctly remember when I had a little bit more free time reading a book called The Prayer of Jabez. And in the book, God calls Christians to ask him to be blessed. And I remember asking God for the provision to be able to take care of my family and all of my financial obligations. And to say that I have been blessed in the latter half of 2020 would be a disservice. And that's not to say that there hasn't been many hurdles and challenges like everybody else who is kind of wading their way through this COVID and pandemic world. My youngest son, Max, was born in January, so we now have 3 boys under 6, so it has been chaotic, but at the end of the year, it's still important to remember that I have been blessed, and I certainly have been blessed through my professional life. As a small business owner of a video production company, one of the things that is paramount to me is a good work-life balance, and that has been difficult to come by in the summer months of 2020 and the latter half of the year, just based on how slow the year started, and I wanted to build up a little bit of padding just in case there was another slowdown. With that busyness, you end up sacrificing in some ways with family time. Even though family time is always a priority, there's a little bit less time for friends and less time for creating content for this channel and short films and fun content that I wanted to create. I still found ways to unwind throughout the summer, whether it's watching, some shows with my wife or hanging out with my wife and doing date night and playing cribbage, to playing softball with one of my teams called the Rogues. Always trying to find ways to not only be focusing on work. So what have I been so busy with over the past few months to keep me away from talking to you guys? Well, it's probably too much to list, but I have been working with some fantastic collaborators and created some content that I absolutely cherish, and I'm excited to show you guys. So the list.
Here goes.
Given that it's 2020, of course, I shot some virtual events like speaking engagements and fundraisers. I shot some videos for a political candidate. I partnered with a good friend to work with the Minneapolis Downtown Council to capture some live sets from local Minnesota artists for a series called Street Shows. And I did more drone work in cool locations than I could have ever imagined. I flew inside US Bank Stadium, inside Target Field, all around the Minneapolis area in some just scenic locations. You can see the footage here. It was just a real treat to be able to have access to these locations. I partnered with my good friends at Finn & Gray to create their brand video, as well as create content for clients like Welly, Oberon, Friska, Stronger U, as well as a local company called MDI. But what has really kept me the most busy here in 2020 has been my work as an aerial pilot. In addition to the Minneapolis street shows and bringing the drone into as many projects as I possibly could, just as a little bit of a cherry on top. A lot of times I got hired specifically just to be a drone pilot for the job. I worked with Ian Connell Creative to capture some footage for Big Lake, as well as a company called Dakota Matting. And I actually for the first time did some drone survey work for a company that has several locations throughout the state of Minnesota, where I went around each location and captured the parking lots and signage and HVAC units. And I cannot disclose that company because I did sign an NDA, but I did over 30 locations all over the state, and so that was a significant amount of flight time. And it wasn't the most creative or fun content to capture, but it's never a bad day when you're outside and it's beautiful in August or July and you're flying your drone and you're getting paid for it. Clearly, I've been super overwhelmingly busy, and for that I am grateful. And I'm also grateful for this little bit of grace period into the holiday season where I can kind of take a breath, catch up on this content a little bit, spend a little bit more time with family, and reflect back on my year and remember to be grateful for all that I have. Even though it has been a struggle with hybrid learning and social distancing and not being able to see friends and family as much as we had hoped, as well as, financial struggles, it's hard not to feel grateful if you really take time to reflect on all that certainly I have. And I encourage everybody to do the same, to find one, if not 100 things that you could be thankful for as we just passed Thanksgiving, as well as we work our way into the holiday season. And even despite all of the challenges in 2020, even if 2020 has been harder on you than it has on others, remember, failure and hardship help fortify you for your next trial. For anybody who's been active or lifted weights, you know that in order to grow stronger and have stronger muscles and have stronger lung capacity, you have to break your body down by tearing the muscle or pushing through boundaries to be able to run that extra mile. And all of these trials help strengthen us for the next one. So keep that in mind. Even if 2020 has been hard, just remember that if you can get through this, if you can get through this year, there's very little that can keep you down. If you've made it this far in this video, subscribe, like the video. If you want to see more content like this, I'm actually have in pre-production for my next short film, which will be a bit of an undertaking, but I am so excited to share it with you guys. It started out as just a fun idea with my brother and I, and turned into a script and then casting, and then actually had to have a costume designed for one of our talent. I had to buy props. This is a little bit of a tease for what the video is about. That'll be in 2021. And so to really actually close out this video for real, one of my favorite YouTubers, Danny Gevirtz, he closes out his videos by saying, "I love you." And I think that's so powerful. He's speaking to an audience clearly he doesn't know, but to spread that type of positivity, it's just so powerful, and something that I want to adopt as a man of faith. We need to spread more of that love in this world. So I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one.